changed the way we live. We are now more careful, and many of us have moved into our home offices or have been forced to set up one and also downscaled our operations in our businesses in order to cope with these very trying times. The pandemic is more than a health issue, it is also an economic issue, and we are all on the same boat, whether you are into business, an employee, or just any other citizen of the world, not just of this country. To be able to cope, we need to understand that we should what we should do so that we will face these challenges as we navigate through the gauntlet while protecting ourselves and our employees when we restart or resume operations of our businesses. Immediate past President Virgilio Nonoy Espeleta will help provide us a guide through his presentation entitled Ramping Up Your Business. So, ladies and gentlemen, our immediate past President, Nonoy Espeleta. IPP Noy, please share to us your screen.
Yeah, can I share my screen? Uy, what happened? Hello? Can I share my screen?
Okay, please do. We cannot see your screen yet.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Not yet, IPP9. Okay, there it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, our immediate past president, Nonoy Espeleta, with his presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much, our past trustee and MC Livelihood, to our president, Felix Taguam. I call him the COVID president. Nobody else is a COVID president. Vice President Benny, okay? Membership Division Vice President, and all the other members of the Execom, Board of Trustees and past trustees, past presidents, fellow members, and those who are watching us also via Facebook Live. And may I greet also my the next speaker, also Dr. Ana Katrina Watin, who will also share with us some important points, especially in tackling this COVID crisis. My prayers for protection for everyone, for good health and continuing provision, maayong hapon sa tanan. The topic given to me is challenging, not only because of the complexity, depth of impact and uncertainty brought about by this pandemic, but also because I am given only 30 minutes to speak. Well, last July 1, 2020, I spoke in a 90-minute webinar of 800 plus pre-registered participants. Since I do not have time for such, may I invite you to visit our FAMCOR Consultant Facebook page or the YouTube link above for the extensive talk on reviving, rebooting, and repositioning and reformatting interrupted businesses in the pandemic era. Let me start with the pronouncement by Secretary Roque. As he said, kaya nga po, kailangang buksan ang ekonomiya. Dumating na tayo sa punto na taong bayan na po ang magdidesisyon. Hindi na po ang gobyerno kung anong mangyayari sa atin mga sariling buhay at lipunan. Nasa kamay na po natin ang pagkalat kung gaano kabilis ito. In last week's meeting also with DTI Secretary Mon Lopez is recommending to IATF that we cannot delay reopening of our economy. So I think that is seriously considered. ECQ or GCQ, let's learn to coexist with COVID-19 and chart our own future, chart our own course, chart our own destiny. Okay, so hence, let us gear up and start to ramp up our business without expecting much
from the government. But of course, undeniably, we need a lot of help from government. Hence, if they come, that will be a very, very big bonus for us. But in the process of reopening the economy, we have to be responsible and accountable in making sure that our workplaces are safe. We know that the prolonged halt of economic activity will paralyze everyone, the private sector, LGUs, the national government, leading to likely huge socio-political unrest and upheaval. So in balancing life and livelihood, we take note that COVID-19 is still around. The curve has not flattened. In fact, it has continued to increase. Since there is no comprehensive economic stimulus from the government yet, as I speak, and with the government saying there is no money left because we have to borrow, what economic activities should we focus that will generate significant ripple growth impact and more livelihood? It is our moral obligation to protect people, and hence we should implement new health protocols in the workplace. While the healthcare system is still catching up COVID's continuing increase in transmission, it is important that the economy has to ramp up fast to address unemployment, to avoid societal, political, and worsening poverty that destabilizes society. This requires to have a well-coordinated plan to ensure phased-in economic activity to create sufficiency and resilience to lessen the burden on the LGUs. Earlier, President Felix shared with us our initiatives. I don't have to repeat on this, but this chart, the chamber, your board has adopted this. And I'd like to ask our secretariat to distribute this chart to all the members of the chamber because we want also to invite everyone to contribute. The framework the chamber is adopting may not be exhaustive, however, provides us with a checklist, a guide to determine that what help is needed from whom to whom and for other citizens to institutions to come in and offer help. We may not be able to do all of them, but we exhort those who are capable of helping to come forward to help while we influence LGU and government agencies to see and execute the task under their mandate. In short, as what President Felix have called us, we have to work as one. Okay. This was also discussed by President Felix. And this was also discussed during the, I think, the video that was shown earlier. So let me just proceed. To all business owners, we know that we have incurred unimaginable losses in the past 4 months. But up to the last mile, we should help each other survive. Profit is a bonus na lang, as some say that 2020 is down the drain. According to Jack Ma, survival. If you survive this year, you are already profitable. Let us ensure that while we prevent virus transmission in the workplace, our obligation to our workers extend beyond paying their salaries. Let us take care of our people's mental health as well, as we know many of our employees are afraid in coming back to work. Our next speaker, Dr. Watin, will touch on this later. We need to build confidence for our people and our consumers, our customers. Let us make testing, tracing, and treating the new normal protocol as we reopen our business. We are lobbying that every establishment should endeavor to have their workplaces be certified safe as we rebuild confidence and the image of Cebu as a place to revisit, a place to invest, a place where life and livelihood could resume its balance. Let us work together along this line. Now let us talk about our business journey. Are you ready and viable to resume operations? You have to revisit your business assumptions. What worked during pre-COVID may not work anymore. Your costs may have changed. Hence, your financial viability has to be reviewed, including the reliability of your supply chain, like your suppliers and service providers, which could have been disrupted as well. Can you comply and afford with the rigid protocols? And most importantly, do you have enough cash to sustain the cost of resuming operations? Assuming we resume operations, do you think that market confidence in Cebu particularly will come back in 6 months, in 1 year? Has your market changed in terms of new preferences and behaviors? The pandemic has taught us to be prudent in spending and to prioritize what goods or services are essential and postpone non-essentials. Are your products then in their priority, or is something they can live without in months or in a year or two? Is your business a high risk, a spreader, that you cannot control people coming in or out and could not even tell if they are coming from red zone barangays? What is the best time to reopen? Should we open fast or wait with caution? Look at your location and lease rate. What used to be a prime location with high rental rates are the places people avoid these days, at least until we have the vaccine. Is your organization ready? Are the people prepared? How are you with your checklist? Now, this is a very interesting slide I have shown many, many times that tells us potential winners and losers in the short term. But how short is short? 12 months, 18 months, 36 months? What industry do you belong? Is my business badly impacted? What are the chances of reviving? And if you revive, will you survive? Should I exit now or just wait? I will discuss this in detail later. With this chart, why don't I shift to take advantage of new opportunities? What industries can I switch into? Of course, you have to reassess your resources, your budget, and ask yourself, who can help me? Just to guide you in case you need to drill down and derive your options, here are the workshops I do for my clients. First is to assess your position. Are you in the near-death situation? What do you need to revive, and can you survive? For those hoping for survival, can you sustain it? Or should you reboot? People do not know what to do. Then assess your industry position in your geographic location. Are you a gainer or loser? Or how long can this situation continue? And I've also included the assessment of your attractiveness to bail out, as I have helped a number of businessmen in joint ventures, sellouts, and consolidation. Another workshop that should be done to derive your option is the pandemic SWOT analysis. Maybe you have done this a lot, but last year's SWOT will not work anymore. So you have to redo your SWOT. From here, we can derive your attack strategy, your defensive strategy, and even derive options to pursue strategic alliances or regrouping or rebuilding options. You have to look at the pestle factors, the political, economic, social, technological, and environmental and legal factors in assessing opportunities and threats. Let us know if you need help. Now, let me run quickly what that YouTube webinar on 4RI will guide you. I'll go on this quickly. I will talk about reviving, rebooting, repurposing, and repositioning. And if you do both, I call it repositioning and reformatting interrupted businesses. If you want to go through, if you want to look at it, just maybe visit YouTube. It's up in YouTube. Okay, when we talk about reviving, from the root word vive or live, and to put back life means to revive and to be resilient, to bounce back. First, please conduct self-diagnostic before reopening and ask yourself, which business industry category do you belong? Are you in the gainer or loser side? Obviously, if you are in the loser side, it is very challenging to achieve profitability if you insist in opening like before. Reevaluate your new cost structures with maybe higher inputs and higher re-entry costs. Project at what level can you be viable. No, if you implement or if you resize or the streamline, if you redeploy or retrench employees, and I suggest also to choose profitable clients. How do you intend to replenish your working capital? You put more of your savings or you will borrow. I suggest you prepare your reopening checklist, which will include pending commitments, the pre-ECQ. Can you produce them and at what costs? Assess or secure reorders, but at what cost? We need to revise terms of engagement with clients or customers. And also look at your reopening procedures because there are reopening procedures already that the DOLE and DTI will require you. Mind setting and confidence building of staff. This is very, very important. In fact, no? There are a lot of people fear in going back. No? It's very important that your key managers should have the right mindsets and confidence so that the rest of your people will also have the same. No? Compliance on new work health standards and re-engineering of the workplace. Now, but if you are not sure, take stock and with a lot of prayers, listen for some leadings. Discern, meanwhile strive to survive, coast along, and buy time. Check if you can convert your facilities for COVID-related needs. Take time to retool and upskill your people. I'm sure you have conducted maintenance work, renovation, and re-engineering. By this time, you must have reassessed your resources, like liquidity, and must have requested for a restructuring of your borrowings. I suggest that board or owners reassess options with a strategic planning workshop, including option to sell out, seek joint venture partner, or merge with a related supplier or even with a competitor. Why am I saying this? I stated this, no? If pre-COVID, there are 100 players of you and the business is reduced to 30% the size, and the 100 players, nobody will close. But as the business will grow incrementally, 100 of you will take that incremental growth and you will just fight over it. So this is a time maybe you can consider, maybe combining, maybe joint venture, and maybe merging with your other competitors. Rebooting means as if you are starting a new business. One common question I always ask my clients, especially those in the third generation family owners who just took over their grandfather's business, is given the option to start a new business, will you go into the same business you are into? The same question I will ask to the severely impacted business owners. Your answer should be reconciled with the clear, defined new assumptions, the size and the growth rate and of the market and the industry, as well as how crowded is the industry with the reduced size of the market, fighting for incremental market size increases in the next year or 2 years. Here, you need to project your new hurdle economic levels. Collaborate with supply chain players to ramp up operations and identify your weakest link. Reconfigure geographic focus. Maybe should you go international or reduce it to regional or local. In rebooting, many others might take the same route, especially the key here is speed in execution and speed to market. When rebooting, Since most of the international supply chain is disrupted, the market can likely tolerate costlier but hopefully faster service from local suppliers. Hopefully, local players can now sell even if more expensive. For the new rebooted business model, consider to rehire, reskill your people, redesign, reinvent processes, campaign to rebuild public confidence on your new business, and finally in financing the rebooted business. With the shrinkage of the market size, changing preferences, and the loss of confidence to spend during the COVID-19 pandemic era, a good win-win option is agribusiness among competitors. The idea of competition has never been more prudent today. On repurposing, it requires deep reflection among the owners to redefine business purpose. I believe that a lasting business has to have deep legacies of helping, of solving a problem, solving problems. I always believe that business is a calling to help, a mission to make people's lives better and offering better options to address what my former professor and also a senior associate, Professor Ned Roberto, has been saying. Solve what is muddy. Who was, okay, muddy meaning missing, what is missing, what is annoying, what is disappointing, what is irritating. When you repurpose, be very clear about what problem are you solving. Who are you helping? Understanding the new normal market behavior preferences, mood, and new hierarchy of needs, and what makes you different. Right now, many people will scamper and go to certain kinds of business, but you have to make sure there is very, very clear differentiation. In repositioning, embrace fast on technology. The 4IR business systems, adopting contactless commerce, off-site or mobile workplaces, including work from home as the new normal. With restricted free flow of goods, including trade barriers, and the Buy Filipino campaign. Okay? Develop new clusters of geographically interconnected supply chain, especially that the supply chain has been disrupted. And so, come up with a clustered, maybe smaller geographic supply chains. Again, with a drastically constricted market size, the key is to build alliances and even consider building supply chain ecosystem altogether as a corporative. This is one project I am initiating in the RDC 7. Every business should have a business model canvas. Just Google this, business model canvas. You can Google this, no? We do this workshop also for our customers, for our clients. Believe you me, many big businesses do not have business model canvas, and when we, take this up, they say, "Oh, yeah, I never realized. Oh, I lack this and that, etc." Okay, so now if you have one, as I've said, that's not anymore the same again. You have to redo your business model canvas. Okay, you Google this. Okay, I will not discuss this in detail. Okay, I have enhanced the business model canvas with a reframed guide question every business should redefine in the pandemic era. You may wish to take a screenshot on this, as this is not found in Google. Again, no? If you need help, please contact us. No? So I still talk about what is very important is your unique value proposition. Do you still have the product market fit? Okay, so you look at the value proposition and your customer segments. Okay. Finally, in reformatting, let us look at your internal organization using the 7S framework of McKinsey that I have been using as an assessment tool in organizational development works. Again, you can Google this. Google 7S McKinsey framework. Here, we look at the pandemic responsive organization with the following highlights. The shared vision, mission, and values in the pandemic era where health, well-being is an added mission and core values. Strategic plan to derive options to revive, reboot, repurpose, or reposition in the next 2 to 3 year timeline. You review that every now and then. Structure, you have to have a nimble, flat, with new protocols, with work-life balance as a factor. And systems like putting 4IR technology in place in business processes and your skills, upskilled and multitasking workforce, empowered work from home, freelance staffing, and the style here is we need entrepreneurial leadership, innovative leader with a mindset of a steward. As I end my talk, let me share with you my insights on how CCCI should reformat ourselves, including the various industry associations in influencing government and policymakers. Prior to COVID-19, when I was president last year until February, CCCI's thrust was heavy on competitiveness, ease of doing business, cost of doing business. We had a lot of programs, etc., etc. While these are all important, very, very important, but today we should sharpen our focus on economic revival and resilience of Cebu. This is very challenging, especially that Cebu is the highlight of COVID. With this in mind, may I propose that industry and other business associations align and converge with CCCI on advocacies to influence legislation and economic policies. Through RDC, I chair the Economic Development Committee. Let us influence government agencies for quick and responsive enabling assistance to drive economic activity and not too regulating to restrict businesses. Let us advocate for the development of business continuity plan. And the third, let us push for enactment of the stimulus package for MSMEs and lobby for an LGU level business incentives as stimulus for entrepreneurs. But at the same time, assist LGU in developing a master plan to strengthen LGU sufficiency and resiliency. We need to do this as the city needs help. Lastly, how can we influence the economic revival of Cebu? With Cebu as the center of pandemic attraction, we should take upon ourselves the collective challenge to turn around Cebu and redeem its image. Capitalizing on the good relations and confidence on CCCI, given the vast experience and deep pool of talents within its membership, let us go back where we left before COVID, strongly partnering with the Cebu LGU in following areas of collaboration or partnership. Revive and implement the pre-COVID partnership agenda, which was already agreed but sidetracked during the pandemic. Over the long term, we should have crafted a clear, doable, high-impact the pandemic economic development agenda jointly with the executive and legislative bodies. We have proposed this to be a non-partisan body to craft a development agenda where even our councilors will base their legislation, their ordinances, and also to invite strategically fit investors according to Cebu's need and unique value proposition. One of the things that we are pushing is in fact the creative city, which is awaiting just after COVID, perhaps, no, when we are able to resume, no, a group of creative and animation studios and facilities will relocate to Cebu. To support businesses, we need to lobby for funds and incentives as stimulus package for entrepreneurs. And to create opportunities at the grassroots, we need to assist in developing barangay level business ecosystem development program. Among them is our entrepreneurial marketing, our mentoring modules. And here, the city needs a lot of help for efficient governance, offering assistance by providing experts in the LGU administration, implementing KPI-driven system, and digitizing LGU processes. We need to help our battered city. The only way to redeem ourselves is to quickly excel with a very strong economic rebound. In the end, Cebuanos are resilient. Let our new reputation as kahi og ulo to mean nga ang mga Cebuano mubarog og musukol sa pagsulay og katalagman. Resilient knowing that it is only us collectively we have the power and responsibility to pick ourselves up. And it is said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And as we fight against COVID and redeem and revive our business higher than before, let us trust in the Lord, in our dear Santo Niño, as promised in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. The future is ours to propose. May God help us prosper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Immediate Past President Nonoy Espeleta, for a very educational presentation. Let us all remember that we can all do our little share to make things better for us and for our beloved Cebu.